My name is Vincent, and I've been making online games for a while. And there is one pattern that I keep seeing is actually a better way, a better title of this is surviving your first online game. Because the truth is, we call ourselves indie developers. We pride ourselves of making the game we want, of not working for a big corporation, and living the dream of making games as a living. But the truth behind it is that it still needs to make money. It still needs to be successful to remain a sustainable state, and that your indie experience is not only a 6-month dream that ends up into looking for a job again. So, as a quick background, I actually was the CEO and co-founder of Kobojo, which is still a fairly large social gaming operation in France. And then I moved to Poland 2.5 years ago, the beautiful Krakow, and founded a new company called EVERYDAYiPLAY, making mid-core games for Facebook and mobile. And today I'm here to talk about the Survival Guide 2015 edition. And I want to say 2 things about it. The goal is to talk about how to survive a cash-constrained environment. I'm not here to talk about passion, creative process, all these things. What I just want to harness is that we all love making games. We are all passionate. We're all talented. We're all good artists, all good developers. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the harsh decision, the kind of business-oriented decision to make sure that your creative process, your talent, has a better chance to hit a home run when it comes to financial success, distribution, and making money to make your indie status sustainable and longer. Okay? So don't think I'm a rough, business-oriented guy. I'm here actually to talk about the dark side of the story, okay? So, obviously, when talking about surviving your first game, well, you talk about picking the right game. And I've seen a lot of story here. And the first thing I want to say about that is, if it won't work here, forget about cross-gender and be careful with casual unless you manage to find a lot of traffic. Here's the story. Casual is what Kobojo was doing, the company I just showed you. We raised more than $7 million with a 100-people operation. I have lived and poured casual games through every story you can. And it came out with one thing. Casual games, in their visual, wants to be mass market, wants to appeal everybody. When you're mass market, it's trying to sell pretty much a shampoo for male and female at the same time. You will smell great, and you will be beautiful too. There is something that's kind of hard to sell. What casual is, what does it mean, right? And so all those games, those casual games, and this game, Candy Crush, is a big lure. It's like, oh, look at Candy Crush, top grossing, those stuff make so much money. We can make it. We too will become Candy Crush. But the problem is that what you don't know is that Candy Crush became very successful because they find a lot of free traffic. At the time, King was on Facebook in 2010 and managed to gather a lot of traffic at the time of Facebook, aggressive virality, and used it as a way to launch a very successful casual game. The reality, if you don't have that mass of traffic, it's going to be more complicated. So what works? Gender-specific games. If you really look at the top grossing charts, you will see that for some exception of top grossing casual games, most of them are gender specific. And it makes so much sense, right? Selling shampoo to a female, having beautiful hair, and not talking about how smelly she will be or less smelly she will be, kind of sounds like it's going to do a better sell, right? And the same thing, if you put long hair to a guy, you will not, you get the point. And look at those games, Kim Kardashian, Clash of Clans, those clearly tell a story that's there. And I just want to share with you some numbers that actually are not so easy to find, just to give you an actual idea of what I'm talking about. DARPU means daily average revenue per user. It's how much money did I make today divided by how many people came. It's literally how much money did I make today per single user, okay? On casual games, you make 1 to 4 cents. Zynga, the king of casual in 2011, from 2008 to 2011, at the best of his time, will make 5 cents. Like, with like ads popping everywhere, and like a segmented game, DARPU, can go from 7 cents, kind of minimum 7 cents, to up to $1. Do you see the ratio difference? Do you see what it means is that a segmented game doesn't need as much traffic, and not having too much traffic is a good thing when you're an indie developer. Getting traffic is complicated, and we'll get back to that. All right, so this one is kind of provocative a bit. It's like don't innovate too much. It's this one thing about being independent is that no, I'm going to do something different, truly different. I'm going to revolutionize the game genre. I'm going to invent something that nobody has done before. So it's a bit provocative, but just want to point out something. The 3 game titles I just showed before, Candy Crush Saga, Clash of Clans, and Kim Kardashian, all of them are an iteration of an existing genre. True success rarely comes out of a completely empty box. It does. It's harder to address. It's more risky. And if you're in a cash-controlled environment, you might want to carefully pick that and validate it before. I'm just saying here, and what I'm trying to say is that innovation should take a very specific shape, because you need to innovate. You can't just copy-paste. Copy-paste is just not fun and not pretty. So where should you innovate? Add meta gameplays, change film on the core gameplays, add social feature. Basically, take a game that you like, take a game that you love, and add to it or change to it that variables that make it yours, that makes it different, but still gives you the comfort that you know that all the basis of that game that made it successful remains, so that your likelihood of success with this game remains. We're in the entertainment business. You make a good movie, you make a bad movie. How do you mitigate that risk? And one is to make sure you put yourself on the footstep of someone else. Doing that, you make sure that you actually get the heritage of someone else's success, making it still yours, finding differences. All of the top one after that, all of them took at the top 100 grossing, they all did that. And you still love those games, and you still play those games a lot. One thing you should not absolutely enterprise innovate on is user interface, or more user interaction. You do not want to reinvent the way you scroll something. You do not want to reinvent the way you select things. Those have been put as a grammar for users for the last 25 years. So please do not be too innovative in the way people select things in your game. This is the place where you want to be the most conventional as possible, because when you innovate, you want to make sure people's existing knowledge about interaction sustain your game, right? So you might be very disruptive in the gameplay, but a button shall still react as a button, and selecting a level probably could come from a map. But I'm just saying that those will create experiences that the user doesn't have to think through. It will feel like he knows that, he knows what to expect, and still be surprised through your core gameplay on like, oh, that's different. Oh, I like that. Oh, this is nice. But do not scare him with hard to understand new concept when it comes to user interface. That's all I'm saying. Step 3 is a big one for me, because I see a lot of those stories over and over again, is do not do a $1 mobile app. I think the $1 mobile app is a tough trap. And let me tell you why. I think you should go free or you should go expensive. I have 2 very talented people in my company today at EVERYDAYiPLAY who both had the same story. They came to the interview, great experience, and they took 6 months off to be an indie developer. They worked for 6 months making their game, and I kind of look at those games, and some were pretty good. How did it go? I made $10. oh, I'm looking for a job. Ah, well, welcome. What happened? $1 is $1. $1 means that, you know, it's the big launch day. You're like, hey guys, all your friends. You're like, finally, the last 6 months, I'm launching my game. It's here. Woohoo! Mom, my game is out. Download it, please. And your mom is here. Oh yes, son, let's do it. Yeah, she pulls her phone. She's like, oh wait, $1. It's my son. There is something in the $1 that is a wall. It's a wall to decision. So how do you launch a game that has a price tag? Well, there's no other way than social proof. Social proof means PR, 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 word of mouth, word of mouth, word of mouth. Basically, the only way for someone to break through the idea of spending $1 before opening the box, and actually in digital distribution, you do not have a box. You have a freaking icon, you have a couple of stuff, and I'm asking you to give me money, yet you haven't tried my game yet. So the only way to break that stuff is you heard a review, a friend told you to do so, but this needs to happen. It cannot just, you can't just put yourself here, and because you have a nice screenshot, people will download. So things change dramatically if you become free. If you're free, there's no problem. Oh, I'm free, sure, I'm gonna try it. But if you go all the way to work on your PR, to get people to love, to break that mental stuff, to spend $1, don't make them spend $1. Make them spend $3. Because this $1, let me tell you, on the water, there's 30% that goes to the platform. Then you're most likely to have a 19 to 23% VAT removed. And you don't have much money left. It means that, like, even if you have 1,000 downloads, which sounds like a first good step, you've barely made $500. It's tough. It's not going to keep you with your beautiful indie logo, right? So this is all my point here. Be careful. You need a large audience, a lot of PR. I just went through all these points. There's one last thing about free-to-play game, which is the genre I'm making. I'm not saying this is the truth. There's very successful people with paid games. Typically, they are not $1 games, though. But with free-to-play, you have the added perks that it's actually a sustainable revenue that will keep going. All right, step 4. Get featured or find a publisher. In the continuation of what I'm talking about, I have seen many times the mistake to think, okay, my game is the greatest, my game is beautiful, I am putting it in the store, it's free. Vincent said if it's free, it's fine. People will download it. But still, nobody is downloading it. Because I was reading actually something, I think it was like a week ago, that there is over 500 new apps and games pushed between Android and iOS every single day. The competition for games is incredibly high on those digital stores. Digital is wonderful because it gives to all of us access to distribution. But we're not all born equal in this distribution. Or actually, we are in a sense that if we don't work out it, then we're just lost in the notion of other games. So you absolutely need to work on your distribution. It's no joke. It's not a small thing. You cannot just throw yourself and all your pennies and all your economy as an indie guy if you do not work as much on your distribution than you work on your game. You will waste your time. So how do you do it? Get featured. Get featured is a single. It's really hard. It means having some connection. It means doing generally PR again is a good way maybe to get noticed by the stores. If you can't get this featuring, if you can't get traction, then seriously consider getting a publisher. On paper, publisher sucks. Okay? A publisher basically will take, base case, 50% of your revenue, will kind of claim the game will be under their account. They will actually receive the money directly. But is it better to make $10 and look for a game, look for a job after 6 months because you just put your game by yourself, thinking it will be enough, or split it with someone who knows how to distribution, who already talk to Apple, already talk to Google, and make sure that it will bring you visibility. It's a no-brainer. So finding a publisher is, it's it basically requires you to do a few things. As soon as you have a demo, go to conferences. There's a couple good conferences for that. One is called Game Connection. Game Connection is here actually to meet publishers. Even me, as a somewhat successful company, I still pitch my game to publishers, just in case I can't do it. Always have my plan B. If things don't go out so well by myself, I always have my plan B publisher plan. So, but to get it, you need to pitch. You need to go there. You're no big deal, okay? And it gives you great feedback too, because those people see a lot of games. So they will give you a lot of feedback. Listen to it. You might want to apply some of them. At the end of the day, sorry, there's no free traffic in the store. And it's either featuring, banner exchange program, finding a publisher. I would say this one, the ads, is the very last one. Do not spend money on ads on your game until you know the lifetime value of your game. You might waste your money extremely, especially, for example, if you do casual. No publisher will spend ad money on your game if it doesn't have a very strong virality to compensate the cost of acquisition and the fact that you have a very low ROI on those games. So ads is kind of the last step. For us, indeed, it's this or this, really. And again, I'm telling you one more time, do not wait the last minute. You've worked really hard on your 6 months, you're done, you're thinking finding a publisher is going to be easy. It takes time because they are convinced, then they send you a contract, the contract is all on their side, you need to negotiate and no, and we want better share, and we don't want that, we have a better payment. It takes 3 months at least to sign a publisher deal that is not, stealing your game in a way that you'll be sad. So, start in advance. All right. Keep it short. Time is cash burn. We're in time-constrained environment in what I'm talking about. So time is of the essence. And there's a couple things that is important that you can do about that. In the online distribution business, we have a luck, is that we can literally put a first version of our game in any distribution, no matter what is the state of it, get some user to it, and get some feedback. This feedback is a huge value because it can give us a hint how successful the game will be when we actually launch it. I'm not talking about, oh, I like your game or I don't like your game. I'm talking about revenue feedback, and more specifically in free-to-play. Free-to-play basis means that anybody can download it, but you will be able to watch two things: retention and monetization. Do people come back every day on the game? Even if it's a paid one. You give it for free to your friend. You plan to do the $3 app game, and you give it to 10 friends. They download it. Do they come back? If they don't come back, you might have a problem. Your game might not be interesting enough for them to actually come back. The few games that that even I was sent to just try by a friend, the one that's successful sucked me in. I had no control of it. It was too good. I had to come back. I wanted the experience again. So keeping it short, the point is the following. And it comes from the idea of lean development. Define a minimum viable product. What is the minimum showable version of your game? Forget about all the upgrade, the crap, the stuff, the management, and the special offers and things. What is the core of your game? What is your core gameplay? Can you put it in the shortest iteration possible on a track that actually people can try it, play it? And do only that. Get it out, get feedback. Try to get your delivery under 6 months. Spending your precious indie cash money on a game for over 6 months might put you at a lot of risk. Spending all your time on your first game for 1 year, you're burning everything you have, you're taking a loan, your mother is helping you, all your friends, it's like you believe in it. But it's entertainment. Entertainment is freaking hard. Your likelihood of success is fairly small. So do not put your eggs in the same nest. Try to keep short iteration. Get it out, get feedback. If it's a fail, if you feel it's a fail, do not attach yourself, your ego to it, your emotional self. You need to be able to manage your cash in a way that said, okay, this sounds like it's not going to work. Maybe I have another idea. Why don't I work on that? And basically define a soft launch and a hard launch and stick to it. Stick to it so hard. It's so tempting to say, oh no, I need this. Oh, and there's this new game, he has that, so I'm going to add that too. Oh, and like, core gameplay. I have one story. We launched Pyramidville. It was one of the Kobojo games. We worked 4 months on that game. And when we launched it, sorry, I don't know why it's... when we launched it, it's at the bare minimum. It was a city management in the Pyramidville, okay? It looked good, I think, for the time. It's 2009, okay? So 2010 maybe. So it's 5 years old. It was casual. It was pixel perfect, but there's no achievement, no collection. There is barely any content for a casual player to survive 2 months of the game. You could not even visit your friend, which is like for a Facebook game, kind of like you're thinking it's the basic, right? I need that. Where we said, okay, the idea was that can we fast follow Zynga in those Ville games and make another one? Can we reproduce their success, and can it work? So instead of spending 1 year of treasury thinking, yeah, it's going to work for sure, we did 4 months, put this together, and launched it to see what happened. And this is what happened. It actually worked. So we're like, oh, great, oh, shit, okay. And here we're, okay, we have something. And then we started to work. We never stopped working on this game for 3 years. For 3 years, we added and added. And so probably by here, we could finally visit our friends and stuff, but you get my point. If it didn't do that, then should we have continued? Maybe not. And the story is that there's many stories where it doesn't work as planned as Kobojo, or at least for this game. I have a great story. Actually, who knows Backyard Monsters? Fair enough. Backyard Monsters was a game released on Facebook in 2011 by Kixeye. If you don't know Kixeye, then... Kixeye, here's the story. A group of 5 indie guys making PC tower defense game for 6 years, okay? They make PC tower defense, it's very clear. 2010, the online PC download tower defense is not going so well. And they hear about this so-called Facebook. And they hear about it, oh, it's like the land of casual games. You know, you need to make it casual to get distribution. So, all right, we're going to try to make a casual tower defense game. And this is what they came up with. Oh. I mean, this picture looks like the title of my 3-year-old daughter's book. It says how hard it is to nail what casual means. And this is what their first version, and it was obviously wrong. They launched the game, and it's a total failure. Backyard Monster first launch was a total failure. They look at the data, they look at the story, and what they discover is that actually there's a small remaining people, like out of everybody who left, there's still a small people, male, playing the 20% left of tower defense of this game. And so, okay, it looks like only male guys want to do it. Why don't we just... And this is what they did. Backyard Monsters! They completely revamped. Actually, the truth, most of the game visual, which you can see behind, didn't change much. It was, they just brought the tower defense in the middle of the story, like it's a seriously tower defense-based game. They put some blood, they put some like, it's a game for boys. And you know what? 6 months after this, they raised $20 million at a $400 million valuation, and today they are in the top 3 richest social gaming company when it comes to hardcore genre. My point with this demonstration is that when you start with your game, you might have a vision, you might have a creative direction that might not meet an audience. If you keep it too long, you're at most risk to not have any cash left when it hits the reality, and you're like, I just need 2 more months to change it. But the truth is, cash is cash. You see, and I mean, if you live at your parents and it's great, then don't worry about what I'm saying. If like most of us, we have financial responsibility and cash in the bank every month matters, then you need to manage it. And managing it means making the right decision, not getting too far ahead with yourself with a single game, stepping back, trying to get feedback. And sometimes a single pivot on the audience you're targeting makes a world of difference and make you one of the richest hardcore social gaming company in the world. When you hear the beginning of that story, you're thinking, holy crap. So, I just want to check what time is it so that I manage my time properly. Congratulations. It's been 6 months, you launched your game, and you're asking yourself, okay, Vincent, what do I do now that I have my first minimal viable product? Here is the way things should work. Maximize retention, maximize monetization, and maximize acquisition. And keep it in this one order. How do I decide, Vincent, if I should continue with this game or not? Well, the first thing you need to look at is retention. It doesn't matter if you're a free-to-play game, if you're paid games, do your people come back? If your people do not come back in a playtest, in a soft launch, or in a hard launch, for free-to-play, it means that since they don't come back, they will never pay, since they never paid at the beginning. For a paid game, it will mean that they didn't like the game enough that they will never spread the word out, and we just talked about social proofing is the key to paid apps. So retention is really the one thing. If you have a bad retention, there might be two reasons. Your game sucks, your game is too hard, or you need to work on it. And so the question is to identify it. Do not work on your monetization for free-to-play games here. Do not work on monetization until you have that figured. If you have a crappy retention number, do not bother. There will be nobody to spend money on your game anyway. They will all be gone. So this is the number one. And that's what the last 5 minutes of that presentation will be about. What is retention? This is the ideal retention. See, we're thinking, oh, I got 2 million downloads. And you hope that there's 2 million people still in this ball, right? No, the reality is that this is retention of the game. People come and people leave. The question is, how fast do they leave? And how big is your hole? Is it like just like an empty bucket with a hole, or is it actually small grains and they actually stay and remain in your game and enjoy your game, okay? So, the one and only place you need to optimize the most and look at most is your first-time experienced user. And basically, it's this one fact. You will lose more people on the first session than any other session combined. If you have 30% of people coming back the next day, you have a good game. That's 70% down. So working on this first number is the key. And so how do you check that? With a funnel. A funnel is great. This is an e-commerce funnel where 100% of the people who came today, 60% went into the shopping area, 30% placed in the cart, and 3% bought. Imagine the same thing, but for your tutorial. Where do people give up in your tutorial? How far do they go in your tutorial? And you might actually find that actually it's a step 6. Because step 6 is freaking hard to understand. There's no arrow pointing there. And once you see the number, it forces you to go back to the step 6. And say, oh, I get it. And sometimes those small details in your early experience could be the one pitfall for your game to not reach the high retention you're hoping for. For online games, do people even reach your game? And I have this story. The first free-to-play games of Kobojo was like a 3D robot combat in Flash. It was awesome. But our first downloadable was 12 megabytes. And what we realized is that it was so freaking slow to load that we were losing 40% just on the download. People did not even see our game. You see, sometimes the pitfall is not even because of how beautiful, awesome a game. It's just because the tech in the between put a huge gap for them to reach yours. For Pyramidville, we made sure that the stuff streams everything. There's no one big fat stuff. And Pyramidville, as you saw, was a success because we're actually losing only 6% during that first download. So a few things: tutorial completion, first mission completion, D+1 retention, D+3, D+7. Look at those, and you will quickly know. And I'm happy to even talk to you after or exchange through email what is a good retention number, because I don't have time to talk about it, but I can help you try to identify if you're good or not. The last thing is what I call long-term retention. People come first for the content. I started the game, and the reason why I come is just because of the game. It looks fun. It looks like a real-time strategy. But the more I come, the more things start to be a bit repetitive, and oh, I feel like I know. And you start to lose people here. Like you start to only have like the hardcore find of the content. And so in free-to-play, one way to do it is to basically make sure that you produce a really high content. The successful free-to-play games literally have a massive content pipeline. Best practice, every week you release new things. The truth is, and this is just to try to keep this guy up. He's like, ah. The truth is actually it's really hard. Releasing content every week is incredibly stressful, just stressful. So I'm going to talk about something. Salsa class. What the fuck? What is a salsa class? Well, you come to a salsa class for the content. You want to learn salsa. Hi. You don't know anybody in there. You just know you want to learn salsa. And the truth, probably salsa is hard enough that the two first lessons of salsa, you'll be watching your feet and like, what is she doing again? It's like, third lesson, you come in and you're part of the group a little bit. You start to know, you're like, hey, hi, hey, how you doing, man? And there's Natasha. Natasha is pretty. And like, hi, Natasha. So at this third lesson, actually, there is Patrick who tells you, ooh, you nailed it, Vincent. You finally got it. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. That's very nice. 1 year later, you know how to dance salsa. Why are you coming back? Are you coming back to keep learning how to dance salsa? You're not. You keep coming back for the person and for the social reflection that this group is giving to you. I come back a year later because I know very well Natasha now, maybe a little too well. Patrick has become my best friend, and I just love the fact that people tell me that I'm good at something. Nobody else can tell me that. Not my mom can tell me I'm good at salsa. Only people within the group. A game is like a salsa class. People commit for the content because they want to play a game. But the truth is, 6 months later, do you really come back to do that same quest again? No, you come back for the person you've become in this game. You've come back for the community within. You're coming back because you might be 14 years old and your life sucks, but in there you're level 60 and people respect you for your achievement. You might be a 45-year-old woman, your husband is never there, whatever. In there, you have achieved the biggest city you can ever have. My point is, long-term retention is about caring for people and the experience they will have inside the game. How do they connect? How can they reflect socially together? How can you create a community within your game? And the perfect curve is that. People come for content, but actually the long-term retention is about coming back for the people within. To build this sense of community within the game. To build a place where people feel good. And this is maybe how we can help the world a little bit. Finding a place where people feel good. And that, as for us in Vikings Gone Wild, which is a mid-core real-time strategy game, we have guilds, we have chats, and those are at the epicenter of the fact that we do not have to release content all the time compared to other games that I used to take care of. So content is your icebreaker, and social recognition is your long-term retention. This is it. Thank you very much for your time. I don't know if you guys, do you have time for questions, or I'm completely overboard? Go for it. Do you guys have any questions?
So, what's your opinion when making a first online game, not so casual, rather like a little title? Should I still be so focused on data and analytics, like in a big title? Or can I focus on intuition and what I think will be the best more.
So I just want to demystify what data is. You don't need a data analyst. You don't need anyone. I think the one number you need to look at is your retention number. It's a very simple number to get, nothing else. It will just tell you what's the likelihood of success of a game. If less than 15% people come back on day +1, it's not good, because a good game will bring back people the next day. It's almost like a pattern that never lies. And it means that you don't have to put tracking where people click, what do they do, like, you don't have to do that. What you have to do is, no matter what is your game, paid or free, try to share it with some people that you know or you may not know, with doing a little bit of ads, of like word of mouth, or putting it somewhere, and see what is their experience with them. Do they come back? And it doesn't matter if you like it or not. If your game is good enough, if it is a retarget, they will come back. It's mathematical. It's almost like trustable. And so this is where I would look at. Don't get into data analytics or anything. I think there is this bubble about data and whatever. This one thing, it's very simple to measure, and it's key. Well, so thank you very much, guys, again. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Vincent.